Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're not doing the usual um, introduction today. We have to get right in here and get on with what we have to do. We are extremely late today because we were waiting on the commissioner to come and say something, um, and he didn't. And so we're going to talk about that today. And we're also still going to talk about uh, Michael Pintard and the situation that he's in. All right. So you know what we have to do when we first get in here? Just take a second to share this. So just give me a second to share this, and then we'll get on with it. We're really late today, so just be prepared. We got some stuff to talk about. Um, we were really hoping that the commissioner of police would have stepped down, but we knew it wouldn't happen because that doesn't happen under this government. They tried to cover up everything, and the prime minister isn't going to leave himself without someone to do his dirty work. Uh, and so we're going to talk about all that today. All right. So make sure you get on here. Um, um, and yes, we are going to have some stuff to say with Michael Pintard. I'm going to have to introduce that for you. But just give me a sec to share this, and you do the same thing. You do your ad highlights, your ad followers, and all that kind of stuff. Let's get this out there. Make sure everyone knows we're live. Yeah. Sometimes when people come to the page early before you start, they don't know they have to refresh their page. So if you ever go to that, just remember you have to refresh your page in order to get it. All right. So we see people tuning in. That's awesome. I'm gonna send this out. Let's get this conversation out there. All right, let's have this conversation. Um, all right, I got so much calls when I let people know that I was going to do this show. We had so much calls from people, um, even people begging me to give Pintard a break. But our country needs a break, and we have to deal with this. I'll explain that before I get started. I just got to share this. Um, I normally share this while the introduction is going on, but I just didn't want to do introduction. I just wanted to get right to it, and then we'll have our conversation. All right, almost there. And so make sure you do your part. Yes, make sure you do your part. There we go. Almost done. I'm done. I've done my part. So let's see. Yeah, I've done my part. Make sure you do yours. Get everyone on here. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are in dire straits. This country has reached a point that we never thought we would see again since the 1980s, and we're right back here. We have to save our nation. This one is not about me. This is not about Brave. This is not about Pintard. This is about a nation that is completely uh, in peril. We are in crisis. And I don't know how to say it any better than that. I don't know how to pretty it up for people, but we are a nation in crisis, in serious crisis. And we got to talk about that today. We have to talk about that today. And so make sure you share this in your groups and everywhere else because we have to have this conversation. And so we know a lot of trolls are going to come on here, but that's fine. We'll get to them in a minute. We know why they're coming, and they're coming to defend. They want to make sure they get their little contracts. They want to win to get their contracts. They're fighting for that, and so that's their interest. So can't kill anyone for that. They got to do their job. But us who believe in love in this country, um, we got to fight for this country. All right. So I just watched something that was disturbing to me. I watched the I watched I watched the commissioner of police just give a statement. It's almost like Brave them wrote that statement and sit down and let him read that over and over till he got it right. And maybe that's why they was late trying to edit that. The commissioner of police should be able to speak to the Bahamian public like every other chief of police does when there's something serious that happens. He should be able to speak to the Bahamian public. The fact, I'll start with the fact that that was recorded is disturbing. That means that he's being controlled. I will take that no other way. It means that he's being controlled. And again, I'm calling on that commissioner of police to step down and get out of the way. There are intelligent officers who want to come up the ranks, and we need the commissioner and the deputy commissioner to get out of the way, to resign immediately. Some people say, why are you asking him to resign when he didn't do the crime? When others have done crimes and it's not him. Let me explain this for you. That is called leadership. It's called responsibility. When the players keep missing in the basketball game and losing, do you know who was fired? The coach. The player is still there the next year. The coach is fired. And so if the leader has failure under him, that means he was not able to get it right. And we're not looking for excuses. We're looking for meritocracy, not someone who is in that position because they are the friend of the prime minister, because the prime minister hanged out in their nightclub on a weekly basis and played dominoes. We're not looking for nepotism while our country burns. We are looking for results. And we are tired of the nepotism. And so the commissioner of police has a responsibility. All of this keeps happening under him. That means he does not have a grip on what's going on. His police intelligence should have caught what was going on. His police intelligence should have picked up that something is probably going on. They have what they call, remember the spy bill? They can listen to the calls of everyone. They listen to calls. That's why I don't really accept calls on the regular line, because they are listening to the calls. But instead of focusing on activists and politicians, opposing politicians, they should have spent their intelligence focused on crime and criminals. This is where they are failing. They are every event that the COI has, they send SIB to make a note of everything that they see. Instead of focusing on the COI and any other political opponents they have, they should have been focusing on the criminals. The same way that they can have their SIB people come to every event, every protest, every march, everything we're doing, they should be targeting the criminals because they say they know the criminals. Every time one of them die, they say known to the police. If you know who they are, why aren't you tracking them to catch them when they're committing the crimes? If you know the criminal and the criminal is attached to someone else who is corrupt, if you're following the criminal, you're going to catch who he's attached to. If the criminal is paying $2 million to someone, you're going to be able to tail them and see them paying $2 million to someone. Of course, they're not going to come themselves. And that someone is going to go to the minister or the MP or the politician. This is the kind of results that we thought that you would be giving, that now you're going to be targeting the criminals. Now you're going to be targeting their finances. Now you're going to do something different. But alas, no. And so here's the things that he said he's going to do. He said he plans to meet with the former Minister of National Security, Marvin Dames. He plans to meet with the former Commissioner of Police. He plans to meet with the former Prime Minister to see if they knew anything about this. Of course, Brave then put that in the speech to let you know that this started under Minister Pintard, because the indictment said it started in May. So Brave then put that in there in the speech because you know what Brave and Pintard, the PLP and FNM always say, the two of them are corrupt. So every time you catch them in something, they say, well, the other one is do it too. And that's what we continue to experience. And so he said he's going to meet with them. Let me tell you the problem I have with that. The problem I have with that, Mr. Commissioner, is you should have already done that. How is it that something of grave importance like this, the first thing you should have done was start your investigation? Right away, you should have gone to Marvin Dames and say, what did you hear? To the former commissioner of police and say, what did you hear? Call them. Tell them to come to see you. You're the man. You're in the seat. Prime Minister, former Prime Minister Minas, and make him come to see you. We need leadership in this country, man. This should have already been done. Don't come to a press conference where we are looking for information and tell us what we already know. USA Today has already told us that. The news media all over the US has said everything you've said and more. We didn't need you coming and repeating those things for Brave Davis. We need real, strong action in this time. And so the fact that you're saying that you haven't even talked to them yet shows that you're not serious. You did not mention that you were there at the arraignment in Florida. Mr. Commissioner, you did not mention that you was there. You were sitting down in tears. In tears, Mr. Clayton Fernando. You were crying to see a fellow police officer in that situation. I assume that's why you were crying. We've had enough of you crying. We don't need weeping men right now. We need strong men. We need strong men who are going to come and say, enough is enough. Let's get this together. But you can't do that because you are a puppet of Philip Brave Davis. I have to be strong and stern with you. Why? Because our country is falling apart. There's another murder tonight, 114. While you are crying. We don't need you sitting down crying. We need action. Next, these are the solutions that you gave to the Bahamian people, Mr. Clayton Fernando. You said that you are going to create a safe way for people to communicate, a whistleblowers platform. There is already a whistleblowers platform. The commercials are all over the radio, where persons can call a number that they said go straight to Miami, is how they said it in the commercial, and the information is mixed right up. They said like Kong Salad, and you get a code, so you get paid a couple dollars. And so whistleblower platform. The problem is no one trusts you. The people don't trust you. And so a whistleblower platform, someone still has to answer it. And they don't trust it's going to be anonymous because you all have the spy bill. And you all can track where the call came from. Even in WhatsApp, it's encoded so you can't see the message unless you directly hack into the phone. But you can see that a message went from this phone to that phone to that phone. So no one trusts you all because they don't want to die. I would not advise any Bahamian to assist this current leadership of the police force. Do not trust them. This is just the reality. People have died who were involved in certain things. Witnesses have been killed. People with ankle bracelets have been killed. For your safety, wait until this leadership moves out of the way and then flood back to assisting the police. The country is now being run like a mafia. I'm sorry I have to say this, but this is the reality. Do not trust them with your lives. They said they're going to request increased funding for anti-corruption. All right. I have a problem with this too. He said he's going to request increased funding for anti-corruption. You should have already requested the increased funding. The fact that you have not done so means someone just put a speech in front of you with this couple insignificant things that are not going to help anything, and you just read them off. If you were serious as the Commissioner of Peace with the responsibility, you would have already done so. All this time has passed, and now you're talking that you are going to request funding? Seriously? This is a load of nonsense. They said they're going to rename, the names of recruits will be published. I don't have a problem with this idea if that's what you want to do. All right? I don't have a problem with that. Now, just know that whenever one of your recruits now wants to work undercover, they done. All right? So just know that. All right? Now, but again, I don't have a problem with this. You just got to understand your strategy after that. But the people are more worried about you and your senior ranks. That's what the people are worried. The people are not worried about the junior ranks. They fine. We worried about the people who have the power to instruct the junior ranks. That's what we're worried about. You're going to have ethics training for all the senior officers. How does ethics training stop a drug dealer, a gun smuggler, or whatever who's on the force from doing what they're doing? You don't think that any police officer who does wrong knows it's wrong? Like, no, you need an internal affairs and proper investigation to watch and to investigate, including investigating police officers. Ethics training? What is that going to do? How does ethics training stop someone from smuggling drugs, for example? A police who may sell access to information and give out where a person is who's wearing an ankle bracelet. How does ethics training stop that? You're going to sit in front of them and say, listen, Jesus say that's wrong. Jesus say don't do it. We need more police to get saved. What are you going to tell them? That they don't know. These are the people that we've been trusting to govern our country, to police our nation. They should be teaching us about ethics. Ethics training is not what's needed. Accountability, transparency, and consequences is what's needed. They're also going to have independent oversight channels. So they're going to fill up some committee with PLP cronies so that when one of their people gets in trouble, they can do like what they have done all this time. If it's a nobody, oh, yeah, we drop the hammer. See, we deal with any police who's corrupt. But if it's someone connected to someone, hold on, we got to cover that up. None of these suggestions will solve the problem. This is further reason that you need to resign. I want to say this. I know the officer who was arrested. I know a lot of all the senior officers I know. I know the officer who was arrested. I always saw him as a good man. This is a shock to me also. He has a good family, a very a good family, good, decent, respectable people. It's shocking to me to see this. It's shocking to his family. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But if it is the fact that he named a politician, that's where my focus will be. Because I've experienced in the police force that the politicians make a call to the senior officer and tell them, let that man go. Do this, do that, charge this person. And then the ones under them have to just do what they're told. And sometimes it's pressure that people are put on to do things and they feel like they have no way out. I don't know what the situation is here. But I know one thing, we're going to pay all civil servants the way they need to be paid so that they don't have to ever be corrupt or beg for bread. A lot of police officers live paycheck to paycheck. We're going to make sure that that doesn't happen ever again. Someone asked me if I'm shocked. I mean, yeah, I didn't know or expect that from that person. All right. I expect corruption from the Progressive Party. I did not expect that from that person. All right. So just so you know, I know a lot of police officers, and of course, people do things that you don't know sometimes. And again, innocent until proven guilty. We'll see what comes out of this. Um, I don't. The persons I know, I don't know them to have a lot of money. I know they had a son that recently was hospitalized for a very long time, and they had to struggle to make payments to get that done. And that's the reason I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I didn't explain, but they had a son uh, who had an ailment and was in hospital in Florida for some time, I think for months, and they had problems paying for him his bills, and they're still left with his bills. And so that's why I was, kind of surprised. All right. But we are going to get to the bottom of this. And we're not going to let this go because this is another example of the corruption of this government. But they said it started under the other government also. This is endemic of everything that you've learned about the PLP and FNM. They're working together with this corruption. This has been going on. And this only goes on with the blessings of the senior politicians. I've been telling you that. I'm going to say this to you, to every Bahamian listening to this, and the sound of my voice. I'm going to say this. Before the last election, I warned you. I warned every single Bahamian. I told you what was going to happen if you elected this government. I told you of deals that I was hearing going down. My ears are on the ground, on the streets, in Parliament, in the government offices. I had a whole live, and I said, and you could see I was perturbed in that live. And I told you I am very concerned about the deals I see going down between this opposition and criminals. I warned you. People attacked me for that. People said, oh, why would you say this kind of stuff? You just want to be in office. You just want to put stuff out there. That is wrong. Why would you say things like that about braving the PLP? I knew what I was saying. Now, there's public embarrassment that I told you was going to happen. I said, every time they come to power, we get embarrassed. People have died because of this, because we didn't listen. We didn't listen. There were drug dealers getting contracts right now. Drug dealers getting crown land. We exposed it. There's a free for all. This is like the wild, wild west right now. I spoke out, even though it's not the presidential thing to do. And I'm going to do that again tonight. And then you can go and vote for them if you want more of the same. But I have a duty. I promise my people to educate and inform them. Our problem is education. There's no media that has the courage to go out there and educate the people. They're twisting the truth. The media has sold out. I have a duty to educate my people. And so maybe you may have to vote for the people who have been failing us because of that. Maybe I may be educating the future generation, but I have a job to do. And that's what I'm going to do. Because I don't want my people to be fooled anymore. They've been lying to you for years. They've been keeping you poor, uneducated, keeping you broke. We have been educating you. And that's my job. So I educated you about what was to come with this government and the corrupt deals that were being made. We didn't listen because we just felt, you know what? Yeah, let's just go with someone we think could be presidential. And look what we got. So that takes us to the next part of this. We'll come back to Commissioner again, because I got more to talk about with that. So again, if you just tuning in, the commissioner was right there at the hearing. He was right there, crying, like a weak leader. Next, I sat down today and I listened to Pintard at a press conference today. And I was hoping that he would have said something substantial or announced that he was going to do something substantial. I was sorely disappointed. It was an extremely boring press conference where he was reading from paper. I want you to know that there's no paper in front of me, and there has never been paper in front of me. He was reading from a paper, something I guess someone put together for him, talking about what has happened, what we already know, and some things they're saying they're going to do. The problem is, y'all just came with a government. Y'all didn't do any of this stuff. We don't want to hear about Freedom of Information Act from y'all. We don't believe you. Don't trust them, Bahamas. Any of the things that he said, they're gonna say anything right now to get in. We'll get to all of that. And so out of that, what you saw was real leadership. And I say this humbly. When we went into the House of Assembly and we spanked up Pintard, that shook him up. That's what you call leadership. You have to speak truth to power. Sometimes you got to raise your voice at your children. Sometimes you got to raise your voice at your subordinates. I'm not calling Pintard a child. But sometimes you got to shake them up and make them do their job. And that's what we had to do because the man was limp and weak. And we had to wake him up. We had to grab him and shake him up to let him see the importance of this, to let him see that he should do his job. And we forced him. Now he had a press conference because that's all he knows what to do. And in the press conference, he heard me say, call for the resignation of the Minister of National Security and the Commissioner of Police. Michael Pintard is like mini-me. He just, whatever he sees me do or say, that's what he likes to do. And then, again, he's doing his best Lincoln Bain impersonation and saying, let's go to Parliament. Let's go outside Parliament and let's have a protest. Jesus. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Michael Pintard is the leader of the opposition. He is in charge of the Public Accounts Committee and leader of the opposition. He can force the government to do anything he wants. Why are you coming outside to do our job when you can go inside and do your job? Why are you going to come outside and scream that you're hungry, you need food, when you could just go inside and cook? Why? Why are you going to come outside and say the house dirty when you could go inside and clean the house? That's your house. You have access to that. So his solution now is to go out there and say, y'all come out there with me. Let me make this clear. I will not be there. Because we have to show Pintard that he needs to do his job. You are not an activist, Pintard. Get inside the house, use your committee powers, you can subpoena any member of parliament, you can subpoena any document, any information, any bank account, any phone record, you can subpoena anything. And if anyone refuses to come, including a member of parliament, they go to jail or they're fined or both. If they give you any false information, they go to jail or they're fined or both. 2 years to be exact. And the fine is just $600, but up to 2 years. If they don't do what you say, if they don't submit to you. I am not going to stand up in the sun with you. I will go with any activist. I've been to protests with a lot of other people, other protests that were organized with people other than me. I've been to a lot of them. All right? I'm not going out there with you who's supposed to be inside. I'm going to have to give you another father-son discipline, because that's what I had to do on Wednesday. That's forcing you to try to do something, but you're still not doing what you're supposed to do. So I'm going to have to give you tough love, Pintard, and tell you, instead of calling for the resignation of those people who are not doing their job, you need to do your job or resign. It's simple. And yes, I'm going to talk about some things with you, and there's a reason I have to do that. I'm going to ask you questions about your mental history. I'm going to do that today. Some people may not like it, and I may show a document. I'm going to ask you questions about drug use today, and I may show a document. I'll get to that in a minute. The PAC has some amazing powers. All right? Now, I have to give you the father-son treatment because it doesn't seem like you know what to do. Let me show all of you something. All right? Let me take off your comments so you can see this good. The Public Accounts Committee, all right? The Public Accounts Committee of the House of Assembly shall, you see that word shall? That means that you must do this. That doesn't say may or should. It says shall. This is what you're supposed to do. Review the annual audited financial statements of the government and the annual report of non-financial performance. Oh, so you're supposed to review the audited financial statements of the government. And so you have access to everything. And if you don't have access, you shall go to court and make them give it to you. But you ain't doing that, hey. No, hey. No. Review the annual reports, including the non-financial performance achieved. So this financial and non-financial achieved, and the audited financial statements for each public entity. That's every public entity in the country. And government business enterprise. That's everything the government owns. And report to the House of Assembly on the results of the reviews no later than the first week of the 8th month of the financial year. Following the financial year, under review and report shall include recommendations on actions to be taken. You shall do your job, Pintard. You shall. All right? There's more. See which one comes first. Review the report of the Auditor General on the accounts and other performance of government and debate the recommendations and the reports referred to in this subsection. The House of Assembly shall complete the reviews and debates, etc., etc. So you have powers. Let me pull up another one. Let's see. I'm going to show you what you're supposed to do. And if you don't do what you're supposed to do, then we're going to have to come and spank you up again. Because our country is in trouble. The chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee shall ensure that Public Accounts Committee meets as often as is necessary to perform the functions required by this act. The House of Assembly shall consider the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the reviews set out in subsection 1. And there's more in the rules of the House of Parliament. There is more that talks about your duty and what you're supposed to do. I don't want to slow this down by going into each and every little thing. All right? You have a job to do. You can read, Pintard. Do your job. All right? So when you are ready to do your job, then you call the Bahamian people. See, Pintard, if you do a Public Accounts Committee, it will use it, and you subpoena, for example, you subpoena whoever would be paying the check to the Commissioner of Police. All right? You subpoena that information when he got all that money. And then if the government doesn't give you what you're supposed to get, then you call us out there to say, stand with me because I subpoenaed this and they won't give it to me. That's when I stand with you. When you call one of those members of parliament, the Minister of National Security, or anyone who is doing corruption, someone who's responsible for a loan, someone who was responsible for our debt for nature swap, and you subpoena them and they don't come, then you call us and you say, let's put that pressure on them. Don't call me out there to just say the country going bad. Let's just come. Let's just come to show support. And then you have Reynard Henfield from We March organizing this. Reynard Henfield? Jesus. We going back there. Because you and Reynard Henfield is who organized the first one. We can't go back there. All right? We're not going to fall for these tricks again. Just remind us. We can't go back there. All right? So I will not be participating. I'm calling on everyone under the sound of my voice to not participate with that. Now, if he goes and does his job, of course, he's going to tell all the FNMs come out just to show support so he could say that he's strong, he has support. But if he does his job and they refuse to respect him, then he can call me. All right? And he can call the Bahamian people. But you can't call us because the government ain't doing their job when you ain't doing your job. That's utterly ridiculous. And so let's keep going. You know, when I put this post out there saying that I was going to say the truth about Michael Pintard, all of the fake profiles just started going crazy. The fake profiles are coming out, ladies and gentlemen. But what was so most interesting about it, about the fake profiles, the most interesting thing wasn't the fact that fake profiles are coming out. They always do that when it's this time. What was most interesting was that the PLPs were defending Pintard. Well, what is this? Starting from the puppet master of the fake profiles, uh, Fred Mitchell. Fred Mitchell um, went out and defended him. He spread, saying lies. He always says lies about what happened in the House of Assembly and how this is violence, our political season, and the police gotta, deal with this violence and all this violent talk. I don't know when sense talking sternly is violence. I don't know when sense talking sternly, even if it's loudly, is violence. It's a conversation. It's a back and forth. That's not violence. But in any event, you notice all of, not just the F&M trolls, all of the PLP trolls came. Did you notice that? And they started doing videos and all. They were on their game. The F&M and the PLP, they came out. And that takes me to, there's some people who asked me to join forces. I had a call from a person today, senior police officer who I respect, and one of the good guys. And he said, man, why you don't consider joining forces with the F&M to just get rid of this PLP? And when I was at the House of Assembly, there was a young man talking to me. I don't know if y'all could hear it in the background, and saying, why don't you just join forces with the F&M in order to get that, to get this done? You and Pintard go there and you'll ask for the same thing. Don't you think that would be better? That means that there are seriously a lot of Bahamians who don't really understand what's going on in this country. They don't understand. This talk about shaking the tree and let the fruits drop from the tree. The tree is the problem, not the fruits. You shaking the tree for? That's telling us you still got that tree. If the fruit is the problem, the tree is the problem. It's the tree that needs to be cut down. It's the tree that needs to be moved, not shaken. But the problem with this tree is it's a mutant tree. It has two fruits, the F&M and the PLP. And they've been dropping and hitting us in our head. Here's the problem. People are calling me today saying have mercy on Pintard, because hurting him is going to help the PLP. They don't get it. A lot of Bahamians don't get it. They really think these politicians want good for us. Joining with the F&M is joining with the PLP. I need Bahamians to understand this. The F&M and PLP have always been one. Watch carefully when I said I'm going to talk about Pintard. Didn't you see the PLP start? All the voice notes started, all the attacks on me started. Oh, he do this. Oh, he do that. All the voice notes started. Didn't you all see that? Why do you think that is? That should have caused you to wake up. That should have caused you to wake up. They started attacking me. This was the most entertaining one I saw. I love it. I love it. See here? Put me in cheese. What? Oh, put me in charge. Couldn't read it good. Oh man, they put this on. Man, that someone called me and said they use a beautiful picture of you. They said you need to use that picture. That's a beautiful picture of you. And they took a picture of me and they put it on a mouse and they had the mouse with the cheese. This ain't about the mouse and this ain't about the cheese. This about the vipers that are eating you, that are swallowing you whole. This ain't about cheese. You fighting over cheese? They take in the kitchen that belongs to you. They been robbing you. Cheese. We are the ones who've been telling you that you own cheese. They're the ones who tell you you ain't got no cheese. Don't look this way. Take some crumbs. We're the one educating you about your cheese. But hey, you have a choice. Every payment has a choice. You can choose to suffer. You can choose to suffer, you know. That's what we've been doing every single election. Every election, we have been choosing to suffer. Jesus Christ. Let me show you something that should give you a little wake-up call. For those who think joining forces with the F&M would help. See this? Remember this? You see this? Last election, they call it snap election that night. And all of us woke up that next morning to this. PLPs and F&Ms were out there putting this stuff out together. One F&M sign, one PLP sign. One F&M sign, one PLP sign. And they use yard signs this time. They never used them before. How they know to use that this time? It's like they got it from the same place. Like they was working together right in your face. And you didn't even notice it. You see? They was working together right in your face. Insulting your intelligence. Right in your face. And you didn't catch on. They even got their stuff together. Because how would the PLP know election was going to be called and Minister said it ain't going to be done next year? See here? In the road. PLP, F&M. The only difference is the color. How they know? Because they're working together. Payments if y'all don't wake up. So you don't work with the robber. I don't know how you'll explain that. The F&M is the problem. The F&M is the problem. How do you partner with them to let them continue what they've been doing? They've been swinging you all these years, making you get so angry with the government that you say, oh, you got to swing it hard the next way. And then you go to the next one and, oh, Lord, they're doing foolishness. So then you swing it hard the next way. You're not tired of that. So partner with the F&M to make sure that the PLP is gone and swing it hard to the F&M so that Pintard them can come in to worship and serve Brent Simonet. I can't join forces with that. I aim to unite the people, not the politics. We want to unite the people. The people who are ready to wake up and take this country back. I'm ready. I'm ready. Are you ready? Now, tonight I'm going to, have to give you a wake-up call. I'm going to have to give you a wake-up call. We're going to have to challenge Michael Pintard just to do some things while he is challenging the government. And some people says, leave Michael Pintard alone. People are going to get angry with you and they're going to feel like you're just doing this because you want to attack him. They're going to feel like you're doing this just because you all had a back and forth in the House of Assembly. That's not the case. What I said to him in the House of Assembly, I've said many times, even before the last election. I said to him, the same questions I asked him in there was the same questions I've been asking him. And I know why I did. We have to stand up, people. We have to stand up. And I know this is a little different for Bahamians, but we have to stand up. I remember they said, one time the Catholic priest was raping the little boys. And anyone who stood out against them, come on, man. You course you will turn against God. You course you will turn against the church. Just be quiet, man. Touch not God anointed. Don't say nothing but that. And they would keep hush hush. Don't touch certain things, man. You gotta have respect. Any little boys who came and was little rowdy because of what happened to them, oh, shut up. You can't talk to them like that. Any parent who came to talk to the priest and tell him off, oh, you can't talk to the priest like that. That's God anointed. And they row them. Disrespectful. Yeah, that's just an allegation. You can't talk to the priest like that on an allegation. Where's your proof? Why the little boy didn't say something from when it happened? And they continued to cover up. And sometimes they would transfer because they were worshiping the positions. And it wasn't until one of the little boys grew up and blew the head of a priest open with a gun. They're like, why would someone do that to a priest? Oh, this is so vicious. I mean, big news. Oh, who would kill a priest? Who would do that? This country has gone mad. And then they found out what happened. And then the Pandora box opened. But if they had dealt with this when they were supposed to deal with this, a lot of boys, our sons, would not have been raped brutally and molested and lives damaged forever if they had dealt with it when they were supposed to deal with it. We have to stop worshiping politicians. I need you to understand that we are the royalty in a democracy. We have to stop worshiping politicians. I heard some people say some ridiculous things, like, because some people said, Lincoln did what Pinland did, what Milo Butler did, what A.D. Hanna did, stood up in the House and took charge because we need change, ruffle some feathers. And then there were people who said, oh, but they were MPs at the time. If you're an MP in the House of Assembly, there's a greater responsibility on you to be honorable. It's worse if a member of parliament grabs a mace and throws it out the window. You're supposed to be honorable. You're not supposed to do that. It's not about them being MPs. They were still arrested and put before the courts, They didn't care. They knew what they were doing was wrong. There's a time for everything, including to do what's wrong. There's a time to be radical. And they knew that. That's what you call leadership. Knowing the time. But we've been broken like subservient servants, sheep. And so whenever someone stands up, it's offensive. Pinland and those knew they were doing wrong. Milo Butler being an MP didn't give him the right to go in Royal Bank and shout them down and tell him to hire black people in there and tell him to give black people bank accounts. I didn't give him a right to do that, being an MP. He knew what he was doing was wrong, but there's a time for everything, including to do was wrong. Martin Luther King said it in a letter from Birmingham jail, there's a time for everything, and there's a time to stand up. And so I knew that the House of Assembly needed a shaking up, and we shook up the House of Assembly. Some people said, why did you target Pintard? Why didn't you do that in the House of Assembly? We did. When Pintard just stood while the House Speaker was suspending the House, he froze like a sheep. Go and watch it. I won't play it for you because I'm trying to rush through this. We stood up in that house and we read them the riot act. We told them off, defending Pintard. How do you defend someone? And then when you're going to ask them a question, they started insulting and rowing you. And then people see you as the one who did wrong because we have a mindset to worship politicians. In any event, there's a time to stand up. Martin Luther King knew it was time to stand up, and everyone said that you're doing wrong. You're supposed to be a pastor. How could you be doing these things? You're supposed to have respect for the government. You're not supposed to be in the streets blocking up the road. That's disrespectful. Who does that? Martin Luther King, and that was the church criticizing him. Martin Luther King left the church. He only did 5 years as a pastor. A lot of people don't know that. And he left because the church was criticizing him. And he told them there's a time for everything under the face of the sun. There's good laws and bad laws, and we have a duty to break bad laws. And he said there's a time to stand up and even do what's wrong because we are being treated badly. And so I always committed to letting you know what's going on. If a member of parliament wants to be prime minister and there's some questions, we have to ask those questions. We can't run from that. I was telling people about the deals that was being made under the PLP. They thought I was doing it to be malicious. I care about one thing, my country. I don't care to be prime minister or president or anything you all want to say. I don't care about politics. Because if I did, I wouldn't be doing most of what I do. In activism, every time you help someone, you offend someone. That's not the best thing for a politician. Activism is not smart politics. I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. I'm not doing this to win. I'm not doing this because I want to win. I'm not doing this for politics. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. And so this F&M sat there. Someone said to me, oh, why are you focusing on the F&M and focus on the government? Let me make this clear to you. We have been focused on the government for 3 years by ourselves. The F&M didn't even try to help us. We were the ones being the opposition in this country. We were the ones, the COI. We were the ones standing up to the evil that was going on in this country. We were the ones. We made that clear to you. We held the government feet to the fire. The PLP took our sovereign wealth fund and the F&M voted for it. Just sat there. The PLP gave BPL generation to Focal and the F&M just sat there, said nothing. The PLP broke the procurement laws and the F&M did nothing. The PLP paid the Commissioner of Police and others in secret and the F&M did nothing. The PLP auctioned off our hurricane supplies and the F&M did nothing. They knocked down a police officer and the F&M did nothing. They were accused of rape. There was no arrest, no questioning for what felt like months. And the F&M did nothing. COI had to stand up. Michael Johnson voice notes, the F&M did nothing. They're doing nothing. They raised NIB. The F&M did nothing. They raised the fuel surcharge at BPL. The F&M did nothing. They put VAT on bread basket items, VAT on medicine, VAT on insurance. The F&M did nothing. There's only one area, because I could go on all night with that. Only one area that the F&M actually did something. The PLP raised its travel budget. And Pintard started traveling with them. He joined them. So that's what the F&M did. Complain about the travel budget and then jump on the plane with them. Brave, why are you spending so much money on travel? Okay, can travel with me. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Can I carry your bags? That's what happened. That's what happened. And so the F&M thinks that we're going to go back there. The F&M thinks that. But we ain't going back there. We ain't going back there. We can't go back there. And I got some serious questions for the FNM. And then after I ask these questions, listen, if you want to vote for that, then you vote for that. If you want to vote for Brent Simmons and them running this country and running this down, Brent Simmons had to resign for crooked contracts, corrupt contracts. Pintard had to resign. Dwayne Sands had to resign. All of them. If you want to go back there, that's on you. But I'm going to ask the questions so that it's not going to be on me. The Bible says if you see something and you don't say something, you are just as guilty. Now, when the stuff was happening, I told y'all it was going to happen with immigration. Before election, I told it was going to happen to brave them getting there with immigration. I told it was going to happen with crime and the deals and the contracts and all that was being negotiated before the election. I warned everyone. That was my duty. So my conscience is clear. My conscience is clear. All right? So I'm going to use one of Pintard's books, one of his poems, because he put some information in his book that is evidence that we should use to question him. Now, I've seen people write books and get arrested in the U.S. for things they've done. I've seen them do it, but that's the U.S., of course. And so Pintard, I'm going to show you something in there, and then we're going to use that to ask Pintard some questions. Same question, but different way, because we need to know. All right? We need to know. Before I go to Pintard's poem, Pintard have a famous poem. It isn't famous at all. Sorry about that. You have a poem. It's called Still Standing is one of them. And you have another poem called We Ain't Going Back There or something like that. Right? Something about going back. All right? So what I did was I wrote a poem for Pintard. When the commissioner decided he was going to stall and wouldn't come right away, I wrote a poem for Pintard. And the poem is called We Ain't Going Back. All right? I'm going to share this in social media when we're finished. I literally just sat down and wrote this just now. We ain't going back. And that's a poem that Pintard have. It's something similar, the name of it. So Pintard, I wasn't copying you with the name. I spanking you with the name. All right? This is in jest. The poem is called We Ain't Going Back by Lincoln Bain. And this is dedicated to Michael Pintard. Let me read it. From Nassau streets to Grand Bahamas tracks, we've suffered enough of the F&M crap. Leaders once pledged to keep us on track. But now we know the truth. We ain't going back. MPs accused, integrity lacked. 2 of them had to be arrested. Our hopes were sacked. Funds were stolen. Crooked contracts. We've wised up now. We ain't going back. Travel visas turned into a hack. Profits funneled to cronies. We paid for that. Whole 12%. Yup, they increased VAT. Where the money gone? Where the VAT money gone? We ain't going back. When Dorian hit and the skies turned black, victims stacked in a trailer, compassion off track. Loved ones buried without a mark or plaque. We will We demand justice. We ain't. Sites almost given to an F&M hack. Heritage sold off to their chairman in a secretive pack. It's a good thing we caught on because they was going to be gone with that. We will protect our forts. We ain't going back. Lockdown tight, while the rich party and snack, burying their dogs while others couldn't leave their shacks. Double standards shown, liberty is attacked. We want equality, we ain't going back. Health in crisis, responses lacked. The hospital was in shambles. Some checked in and never came back. A&E outside in the rain, Grammy put on the rack. While y'all traveled for y'all health care, we ain't going back. Togi and Bobo, murder plot was dark, I mean black. Stories of schemes to get someone smacked. Chairman, senator had to resign for this crap. Now that's corruption. We ain't going back. Not to the days where integrity slacked. Associations with drug dealers are a progress hijacked. We need leaders strong, not this flapping mouth crap. We need strong leaders, so we ain't going back. No more speeches that in substance lack. We crave action now, not word salad stacks. Opposition protesting outside won't help. Get inside. You're the PAC. Pack. Use your power right or do just that. Pack. Because we ain't going back. Puppet. Dancing to Brent Simonet and Fred Smith's soundtrack. Want to give the whole country to Brent Simonet from front to back and open the borders for Fred Smith and his illegal friends, Jack. Not on my watch. We ain't going back. And don't think we forgot about Oban, as a matter of fact. Y'all tried to give them our land, but y'all got trapped. Worst Minister of Agriculture, that is a fact, had control of agricultural crown land and didn't grant not one track. We ain't going back. Worst Minister of Youth, Sport and Culture at that. Youth programs suffered. Athletes were begging. That's whack. We tired of begging, so we ain't going back. Forward, together. No plan to retract. Hope guides us on. That's a matter of fact. The spirit of our people is right on track. It's a new Bahamas, baby, and we ain't going back. That's dedicated to Michael C. Pintard, the poet. Yeah, that's dedicated to Mike C. Pintard. And so I'm going to say this, and you can decide how you take it or leave it, but we ain't going back. I asked Michael some questions while we were in the House of Assembly. And as I said on Steve McKinney's show, I asked him a question for a reason, because he came and confessed certain things to me. Michael came and confessed to me that he did use drugs. He came and confessed that to me. All right. That might be worded used to use drugs, whatever it is. And you can't hold something against someone forever, but we need to know if that still is the case. And I told you on the show when he came to me, I gave you the specific instance of when he came and said that to me. There's a reason that's important. And he said it caused it caused him some mental instability. Again, maybe the past, but we need to know. If you want to be prime minister and you were committing crimes by using drugs, you were making bad choices by using drugs, we need to know that. In America, for example, when they run in, they give their health information. They have to make sure they're healthy. If they ever got a DOI in the past, they bring that up. And for some people, it mightn't matter. And so some may say, okay, what if he used drugs? We don't want to know if he used drugs. We want to know if he's gone back or if he's still using that. I'm talking about cocaine and that kind of drugs. I think we have a right to know as a people, and maybe I may be castigated for asking this question, but I think it's an important question. And right now, I'm demanding that Michael Pintard do a drug test. I'm demanding that Michael Pintard do a drug test. Because if you are currently doing this, then we need to know. And I'm saying that based on information that Michael gave me, and it might be in the past, it might be over with. Um, but we need to know. We need to know if Pintard has ever had mental issues, and mental issues is a serious thing, and I'm not taking this lightly. We need to know. We need to do more with mental issues in this country, and we need to take that seriously. And it's not something I take lightly, even in asking this. And I'm asking this because of the information that I was given by him. We need to know. And there's a reason we need to know that. All right. And again, it might be his past. It's just a question we need to know. And so you can sue me, which that's fine. All right. Anyone can do a lawsuit. Or you can just let the people know and say, listen, I was rough at one time. I was out of order at one time. Let this be a lesson to all of our children that you can accomplish anything, no matter what your past is. And then that would be the situation. All right. So let me pull up a poem by Michael Pintard. Well, I'm going to pull up the poem. Someone wrote something on it, right? And no, I want to make this big. Let me close that and let me share it and make it big. Because it could be the greatest inspiration story ever. Or it could be that, you know, yeah. All right. So, and again, it could be the past. Let me see how I can share this. All right, I'm just going to share this. Just give me a sec. Let me put this up there. And we could just get this out of the way. Michael Pintard, just answer it. I'm not accusing you of anything, but just answer this and let's move on from this. All right, let me share this. All right, this is a book. Someone's doing a book review on his book, and they talk about the poems that was in there. And this is one part of it that, and there's two sections. It caused me to ask, some questions based on the information I got before. It says Pintard also uses this poem to encourage readers that they can persevere through difficult situations. That's honorable. He makes an example of himself by recounting his past battles with defamation, commotion about his personal appearance, and that is his matted hair. And so people used to teach him about his appearance, which means his matted hair. His hair, he didn't have good hair, is what they were saying. And that's what emotionally disturbed him. And betrayal by friends. Through the repetitiveness of the phrase, I'm still standing, Pintard proudly proclaims that he overcomes his difficulties, being teased about matted hair. Um, and so that, and he called it, if you look at the bottom, fiery darts. The fiery darts did not hinder Pintard's walk. The rebuke. They were fiery dark because people made fun of him because of his hair. Now, let me open the other one that talks about his other poem. And then we can leave this alone. because I kind of feel like uh, Trump talking about Obama's birth certificate. I don't want to do that. Um, yeah. So here, his was called "I Ain't Turning Back." That's what his poem was talk. It says Pintard addressed many issues that teenagers face every day, such as drug abuse and fornication. He admonishes readers to in earnest to turn away from these things, which is good, and not to turn back. He does this using the repetition phrase. So they're analyzing his poems. In this poem, he talks from his personal experience. So he's talking about drugs and drug abuse and fornication. And it says in his poem, he's talking from his personal experience with these social ills. And so that's concerning. So Pintard addresses drug abuse by talking about the adverse effects it had on him. So this person wrote. He relates to readers the effect of drugs on his appearance and mind. He says, spliff in my mouth, redden up my eye, scared to die, sad, stupid enough to believe I could fly. Later in the poem, Pintard hints at the addiction these drugs cause by talking about people putting them in priority over responsibility. All right. Um, and so I don't want to go on, but as you go read his stuff for yourself, and he talked about this. I don't need to say anything more than that. And so, one, if you were using illegal drugs, if you were um, known to hang out with drug dealers, again, it could just be your past, and um, just answer to it, because you are being paid by the public right now, and we need to know that you know you are safe and that we are safe. This is not easy for me. This is actually difficult because Bahamians are passive people. And is that his personal life? When you're running as an MP, you have to be of sound mind. If you're running as an MP and you are or did do illegal activities, that's important. Now, if you turn your life around and you turn your life around, just let us know. And I think that would be the greatest, not the greatest, it would be a great turnaround story for young people. Let us know. It's simple as that. All right. And so in that write up there, they were implying that the drugs affected your mind, that they're saying that you said that. There's been that calling. No, that's a reminder alarm on my phone. And so we need to know. All right. And if I should just let this go, just tell me. I'm about to open up the phone lines. I'm not going to release anything else that I have. I'll I'll let you say what you have to say. I'm going to open up the phone lines. I've been going for an hour and 19 minutes. Let me hear what you have to say, and then I'll talk some more. 803-5995. Do you feel that if someone was involved in criminal activities, because he said he never went to court, but if you admit that you were a drug user, marijuana, cocaine, whatever it was, you've been breaking the law. And so should someone who's been breaking the law actually now be interested to be prime minister? If you had a mental issue, should we know that that is clear? Should we know that that is clear now? Should we ask him to be evaluated? And should we ask him to take a test? Well, I'm going to ask him to take a drug test and clear it up. And so now we know. You think he's going to do it? And I don't want it to be a F&M doctor. All right. And so some people who, because of this, they feel like this is out of order. You shouldn't discuss this. You should just leave that alone. They told me the same thing with Brave Davis, and you see where we ended up. All right. Let me open the phone lines, and so you'll have a chance to tell me I'm wrong, tell me to retract, tell me whatever you're feeling, and then we can go from there. All right. But if you're going to lead this country, just let us know. I don't think people will have a problem with that, and everyone has a pass if that's the case. Or it might just have been literature, and it might not have been the truth put in there. But I just matched that up with what I was told, and that's why I asked the pertinent question. All right. So, okay, phone line. Oh, I didn't give the phone number. 803-5995. 803-5995. Good evening, you're live. Good evening, you're live. Okay, we lost them. 803-5995 is the number. 803-5995 is the number. You can call in. All right. So we want Pintard to answer that. It could be absolutely wrong. Don't take it from me. Let him answer that to the Bahamian people. I'm just saying that based on my opinion of this public figure and what he's put out there publicly, we know that this is what the situation is. And so we need to know. All right. We need to know if he still has issues. All right. So, or if he's ever had issues, we need to know. All right. And I think that's not out of order. 803-5995 is the number. And you can tag Pintard. You can tag Pintard in here, and then we can go from there. 803-5995. Good evening, you're live. Good evening, you're live.
Am I live?
Yes, go ahead.
All right.
Whatever you're listening to, turn it down. Just talk in the phone. Caller, go ahead. Caller, go ahead. Okay, they hang up too. 803-5995 is the number. We need real strong leadership at this time, not the stuff with Pintard. See, if someone has, personal issues, I don't deal with personal issues. I never deal with people's personal issues. That's not my thing. I'm not interested in that. But if you're going to be leader of this country and then there is a criminal past, we need to know that. So you may say you've never been to court, but if you have a criminal past, we need to know that. And if you have changed, then so we'll see if he answers or not. Good evening, you're live. Good evening, you're live.
Yes, sir. You hear me good?
Yes.
I want to commend you for your stance the other day at Parliament. You made us proud.
Thank you, man.
And I think everybody understands now that we mean business in this country. We're not going to stand and tolerate the corruption that is present in our country.
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed though. In what the commissioner did tonight. It was a shared waste of time. I believe that he is a good person. I do not know whether or not he's equipped for the job that he has been given, but it appears as though he is under the thumb of somebody, and he chose to obey their orders rather than serve the Bahamian people, and for that he has to atone. Mm-hmm. But you're doing a good job, Brother Bean, and if the opposition was as strong as you are, this country would have been in a better place. Now, I do not know. I have mixed feelings about what happened in the after the parliament was ended, and you and Michael had that bit of debacle.
Yes.
I have feelings about that. I probably talked to you off air about that. But other than that, you're on the right path.
Thank you, man.
You got it. You got the attention of everybody, mm-hmm. and we're looking in your direction, my friend.
Thank you, man.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. And so, again, what we need is 803-5995. The number is on the screen right there. You can call in. What do you think about what the commissioner had to say? What do you think about the leadership that we're getting, that we're paying for in the opposition? What do you think about this? Let's hear from you. All right. Someone was trying to call in just now, but we weren't able to answer because it was calling. You can call a regular line or WhatsApp line. Is up to you. All right. Regular line or WhatsApp line. What do you have to say about this? All right. I'm tired of weak oppositions in this country, because what it means is that those persons constantly just sit and wait their turn and then just come in and then continue to rape us and rob us. Someone said, just focus on Brave and get rid of Brave. And I'm like, we did that with Minnis. We went and we exposed Minnis. We fought him. We exposed the MPs that were doing foolishness. Don't forget, it was us who exposed the reporter Lanisha Roll that Minnis was hiding. It was us who was dealing with them. And, a lot of stuff that was going on. It was us who put stuff out there about Adrian Gibson. We were fighting for the Bahamian people and making sure that we don't experience corruption in this country and that we hold their foot to the fire. We were fighting Minnis. When he was doing the sudden lockdowns, we were going up there to be locked up if they wanted us to be locked up. All right. But we stood up for the Bahamian people. I'm coming right now, Carl. It's all a sec. And so we fought Minnis, and Brave sat down and did nothing. What did he say? He said, just do whatever Minnis say. Just do whatever Minnis say. And he just left it. He didn't touch nothing Minnis did. And then everyone just swung hard that way. So now some people are advising me to leave Pintard alone, because if you heard Pintard, brave them and get back in. I don't know how to come to that conclusion. If the Bahamian people votes, brave them back in at this point, Jesus. Listen, we don't deserve nothing. After all this, if we put them back, okay. But we don't need to ignore the sins of the FNM. We don't need to turn the heat off them. We have two enemies. If you have two men coming at you with a bow and arrow or with a gun, you can't just say target one. We have to deal with the two of them, because the two of them are working together. They are one, and both of them are the problem. So for those people telling me, leave Pintard alone, they're neglecting the fact that for the last 3 years, it was the COI dealing with Brave Them and exposing everything that they did. We're not taking our focus off of Brave Them. But if there's a serious issue, we have to address it. And we want Pintard to answer. When I asked him this question in the smoker's room, he didn't answer. I asked him about drug use, and he didn't answer. All right? I had to ask him several times about the other thing for him to answer that. But now we need to know. So I have another caller trying to come in and one in. So the other caller who's trying to call in, just call right back. Let me just take this caller, or call on the regular line. Good evening, you're live.
Hey, good day. How you doing?
I'm good.
All right, that's good. All right. I listened to the meeting, the conference that was live for the commissioner. The biggest problem we have is with the police. They haven't made us feel comfortable to say, hey, okay, we're going to do this and clean up and different things, but they want to implement this. How are we supposed to trust something y'all hasn't fixed yet. I don't even know how they could even bring that to the table, because a lot of Bahamian people are afraid. How could we go to the police when all the evidence shows that it goes back to them helping the police involved in this? The record, y'all ain't fixed that yet. How are you saying we supposed to trust you when y'all haven't fixed anything for us to trust you with?
It's true.
That is crazy to me. I mean, I don't even know if Bahamian people really listening to what I just said and listen to what this man said. We put whistleblower thing in place. I was reading the comments the most. I was just getting off, to be honest with you, because it wasn't making no sense, because we could tell it was recorded and whatever.
Yeah.
But that we don't deserve that. That's a slap in the face right there. That's a slap in the face. Fix the problem what we complaining about. Let us know what's going on with these police before we could become whistleblowers and trust. Yeah. All right. Good night.
All right. Thank you, man. I have something interesting here I want to show persons who might be interested. That book that we were talking about, Pintard. I want you to see something with this. Let me share my screen quickly. Because there's some people asking, okay, Lincoln, where do you get your money from? What do you do? This kind of stuff. I want you to see something. And this is just bear with me. All right. Just hold the line 1 sec, call. I'll get you 1 sec. Hold the line. You're calling number 2, okay? Okay, so 2 callers just calling. I'm going to do this quickly. This is hold the line 1 sec, caller. This is Pintard book, still standing on Amazon. And it shows you your bestseller ranking. And on the bottom here is the bestseller ranking. He is ranked 7.1 million, over 7.1 million. So that means there are over 7.1 million books that sell better than his book. So that's 7.154 whatever million. You put it big on the screen. So that's his rank in terms of bestseller. Oh my God, I came off the screen. How do I get back? All right, so that's the bestseller ranking. Hold on, let me go back. Hold on, let me stop sharing so I can go back. All right, just give me 1 sec. I accidentally touched the screen. All right, let me go back here. So that's the ranking. 7.1 million books are selling better than us. That means almost every book in the world. That means this ain't selling at all. Let me go to this book here. This Identity Crisis by Lincoln Bean. There's the ranking. All right. The ranking is, the best ranking is 7,735. All right. That's in books, but in audio is down. Audio is selling less in Audible, and that's because Audible gives your first book free, and so they don't count that as a sale. So most people sign up for Audible and get my book, but I don't get paid as much for that. But 7,773 is my ranking, as you can see right there. 7,000 is my ranking. So there's 7,700 books that are selling better than my book. So let me put that in perspective so you can understand how that works in terms of the bestseller rankings. Here's how the bestseller rankings work. So it says a book's ranking can fluctuate because they do it every hour, actually. And they say a book with a ranking in the thousands, that's my book, is doing well. A book with a ranking around 10,000 is probably selling around 15 copies per day. And I'm above that, so I'm doing way better than that. So that's probably selling 25 copies a day. But if you're in the millions, that means you're in selling. And so mine is like 7,700, if I remember correctly, at this hour. And so that means that's selling probably like 25 copies per day. And at $10 a copy, that's $250 a day. You calculate that per month, that's what it is. All right. So that's what I do. All right. So I just wanted to show that. So That just was interesting. Okay, then we lost that caller. Let's go to the next one. Caller number 2, you're live. Go ahead, caller number 2.
Good evening, Bahamas.
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Bain. Good evening, Mr. President.
Yes.
Mr. President, it was, I was just trying to figure out if Pintard fighting for the oligarchs, the Olarescos and the Kellys and them, and Bray fighting for foreigners, who's fighting for the Bahamian people?
Well,
you know what?
the COI.
Clear. That's right, the COI. Because no one is fighting for the Bahamian people.
Yeah.
Our women and children being slaughtered, and they talking about there's enough, the worst of the worst enforcers, and I mean, everybody saw the speech tonight with the Commissioner of Police, edited and guided. It's so shameful. It's absolutely shameful. And today I was with some men who work on a construction site, and I can tell you, they are quiet. But the brother tells me, but if you're talking politics or anything like that, if you ain't talking black, move from my truck. You know, a young man told me, say, listen, all my family, we be going after them all our life, but listen, but Lincoln look good, right? Lincoln look good. We haven't dinner tonight. That's the conversation tonight. No person in the Bahamas right now would just come forward and say, why can't PLP or after them? Or they would tell you they don't know how they're going to vote. And it's an indictment on the PLP and the FNM that have put the Bahamian people in that position.
Yeah.
Because both of them are the same.
Yeah.
You know, both of them are the same. So we, the Bahamian people, we encourage you to keep on keeping on. We with you. We standing with you. We want change. We want to be empowered. It's time for us to live out our dreams. God bless you and God keep you. And we're going to keep praying for you.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right. I see a comment here that says, let go of Pintard. Let go of Pintard. Let go of the Pintard backlash. All past actions will never resurface. Let us focus on the serious issues at hand that is presently affecting our country. Yes, I agree 100%. Let's focus on the serious issues. Let's go to the phone lines. Good evening, you're live. Good evening, caller. Go ahead.
That is presently affecting our country. Yes, I agree 100%. Focus on the serious issues.
Go ahead, caller. You're live.
Yes, I'm calling straight out from the United States.
Okay, awesome.
And we're watching closely. The Bahamians here in South Florida, North Carolina, we're watching very closely because you put on a stellar performance for the citizens of our country.
Thank you, man.
We are very proud about what you're doing. And, you know, we want you to know that we support your movement and we will be coming in with plenty support for you, sir.
Thank you.
What has happened, we watched a group of us sat in a restaurant of ours and we watched the performance of the commissioner tonight.
Yes.
And I can tell you, we are so dismayed with the emptiness of his rhetoric, because here it is, he's speaking about implementation of new programs to thwart crime in the Bahamas, when in fact he should have been the vanguard overlooking that crime does not exist in our borders.
Yeah.
So, as has been said, he should put forward his resignation forthwith.
Yes.
Along with his Attorney General, his Minister of National Security. These are the integral internal security of our national sovereignty of the Bahamas. And they've done a poor job. We want you to know that the Bahamas will see a change in this coming election. And the election should be called snaply, promptly, ASAP. We're there. We all are coming to support your movement. Thank you, sir, for your open air, and we support you once again.
Thank you, man. someone on there, before I go to the next caller, and it's 8035999. Someone on here says, I'm not a Bahamian, so I know I can't speak to the politics of the Bahamas. However, I do see parallels in what's happening in the Bahamas and what's happening in the U.S. I feel encouraged by how Bahamians are fighting for what's right and just. My hope is that Black Americans can unite in this way to improve the lives of and the conditions of Black Americans. And so, yes, there are serious parallels. We've been going through the same things that Americans were going through with our borders being flooded, except here, we don't have serious media, sort of media stop covering it. At one point, we had shanty towns where they were taking over, and it's really got seriously out of control. The same party, there was a lot of strange issues that they were pushing, the homosexual issues and that agenda, the LGBT agenda. So a lot of the same things that America was going through, we are going through. The inflation, the economy, which is not good for us, the people. We're not feeling it. The more cruise ships are coming, but they're going to their keys and they're keeping their money. And so we're not feeling what's happening. And we have liberal leaders in the PLP and the FNM, because the FNM is going to push this immigration agenda also. Once Fred Smith gets in with Michael Pintard, they are going to run ramshot on this country as it relates to immigration. They were fighting for illegals to be able to not be touched for years. And of course, they've gone quiet now because they expect that the election is going to just swing to Michael Pintard, and then they're going to have full control to do what they want to do. And Pintard has already said he's not discriminating against gays. He supports that movement also. And we'll see what happens with that. All right. So, yeah, let's go to the next caller. Caller, you there?
Hi. Good evening, Mr. Dean. How are you?
I'm awesome. How you doing?
And I'm blessed through the grace of God. I'm blessed through the grace of God. Let me say, I've listened to the commissioner, and what I've heard from him, he brought nothing that will cause the Bahamian, this is my take on it, that will cause the Bahamian people to trust the police officers in anything that they do when it comes to investigation of anything in this country, because the commissioner is tied to a parent corrupt leader and the PLP government. We see what this government, this PLP government under the Haitian leader of Philip Davis, who declared himself to be a Haitian and who don't love Bahamian, when he brought the commissioner back and promote him to commissioner and then settle a deal of the taxpayers' money, and we never know how much money he settled with the commissioner. He had no need to sue this government, but because they hang out together, okay, the club Turning Point in the Grove. But let me say this. How is it, Mr. Bain? I want you to hear this well. How is it in this country? In the police force, the institution of the police force, they have different departments, like CID, DU, and they have SID, Security Intelligence Bureau, or in Security Intelligence Branch.
Yes.
Now, they're supposed to be knowing what is happening in the public sector and in the government and what is going on with intelligence. It's supposed to be knowing of the intelligence and collecting intelligence that is going on in this country. How is it that the Americans were the ones who had to expose what was going on in this country? Think about how serious this thing is. A top police officer in charge of CID, Michael Johnson. We haven't get no closure on that yet. Where persons involved talking about murder and millions of dollars. And then you have the Curtis, who came from Exuma. He is from Exuma. I think Stevenson or somewhere down in there.
Yeah.
Chester Cooper is the representative of Exuma, as we all know. How come that we can have this a crime organization taking place within the police force, and the SIB, who's supposed to be gathering intelligence, and the commissioner know nothing about it, and the prime minister, and the national security minister, Wayne Monroe? How come? Where is there a cover-up from 2017? The FNM, under the FNM commissioner, and SIB, what are the SIB job in this country? Their job is supposed to be dealing with intelligence. And they didn't know what was happening, right under their nose. A criminal organization within the police force running and doing what they want to do. In the top brass, the commissioner knows nothing about it. The SIB knows nothing about it. I'm saying, now I know they have to know something. Okay? And so, we got a problem in this country.
Yes.
When the public lose trust in the public officials, we got a big problem yesterday. And you know what, thank God for persons like yourself and others who are exposing what is happening in this country. You see, a lot of persons don't like truth. And always remember this. They might hate you for the truth. They might even try to kill you for the truth. Some people will love you for the truth. But truth is a living thing, and there's nothing they can do with truth. And everything we know, Mr. Bain, that this is just the beginning of what is about. This. It can be shaken, and everything that cannot be shaken will remain. So a very powerful thing about money. Number one, in the book of Ecclesiastes, it says this, I know for this. It says the power of money is answereth all things. Then it talks about in the book of James, for the love of money is the root cause of all evil. Every evil stems from the love of money because of the power of money. But it's another thing about money. Money is the defense. After persons have done the evil, the same money that they have in their possession and the evil they did to get that money, it could defend them. It could buy out the corrupt police, it could buy out the corrupt judges, it could buy out corrupt politicians. All is because of the power and the love of money. God bless you, my brother.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. All right, 803-5995 is the number. I see a comment here. They're responding to someone. They're responding to Erica Morris. Erica Morris is a strong F&M supporter who's always trolling on Facebook. I know her very well. I think we worked together at Jams one time ago. She's a strong F&M supporter. And the person is responding to them. Hold the line one sec, caller. The person is asking, well, I'll just abbreviate it. They're saying, why is the government always talking about infrastructure? If it was done properly the first time, then this shouldn't continue. And so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but yeah, you're right. We shouldn't be having these conversations about road and water and electricity, not 50 years later, man. We should be doing things that should blow people's minds, like what Dubai and these other countries are doing. We should be on another level now. We shouldn't be just trying to get good education, get another hospital built, or get our hospital built. Come on, man. We shouldn't. We can't settle like this, man. And I think to Pintard and them, you all was there. You all didn't build a hospital. You all did nothing for this country. You all didn't build not one home. You all was selling property. You all was selling the crown land to the people. You all didn't, and that's 50 by 100. You all didn't build one home. You all didn't build one school. You all did nothing. Under Pintard as Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, athletes were begging for little assistance. Begging. Where you going now? Let's go to phone lines. Good evening, you're live.
Ministry of Works is corrupt in Clay Sweeting and Anya Mackey are not nice individuals. They do not care about the poor. They only care about the big muckamucks.
That person called and used a AI read for them voice to send that message about Clay Sweden and whoever that and Jobert Kobe Davis. And we need to know who the persons are who are accused. The government is able to reach out to the U.S. government and ask. The commissioner of police has that authority also. He should have already asked. If I was commissioner, I would have already reached out to the FBI, to the feds, to the DEA, or to the Department of Justice, and I would have asked them, who is this politician, so that we can start our investigations on this side. But guess what? The reason they don't know or don't have the information, the reason the U.S. didn't let them, they were investigating, is because the U.S. don't trust none of them. The U.S., the Bahamas, and Turks and Caicos works together on drug interdiction. If the U.S. didn't tell their partners in the region the investigation, that's because they don't trust them. And so if the U.S. don't trust the commissioner of police, then you shouldn't. If the U.S. doesn't trust our prime minister, then you shouldn't. And yeah, we heard him say, yeah, he talked to the U.S. and said their concerns about the increase in drug trafficking. No. You don't go to them with concerns. You go to them with solutions. You go to them and say, look, see what we're doing. But no. You were trying to get ahead of it. You know what was going on. And so you was playing slick. All right? All right. So no. We need something different. Now, the way the mafia works, because someone says that the commissioner of police isn't doing this or this person isn't doing that. If it's a MP, let the chips fall where they may. Listen how this works. Government works like the mafia. You're not going to catch the boss or the prime minister doing dirt. They always have the new politicians to do the dirt for them, so that if they get catch, it doesn't affect the party. They will always say, let the chips fall where they may. That's how this works. They call it a stick man, or hold on line one sec, caller, a stick man or straw man in the mafia. And so they let them do the dirt. So if something happens, you don't catch the capo, the boss, or the capo. You catch the smaller man down there. And that's the same way they operate in our politics. They always have the small, new MPs, that's the one who do the dirt. But they'll be close enough to Brave so that you could do business with that MP because that's one of Brave people. But you're in dealing with Brave. You'll never be able to say you talk to Brave. You'll never be able to say you talk to Ingram or Perry Christie. All right? Their hands will always be clean because they let one of the small boys do their dirt. And that's how it works. Let's go to phone lines. Good evening, you're live.
Good day. Good night, actually. I called to ask a question about how you went to the parliament last week to call for a referendum for the death penalty.
Yes.
And the government suspended the House. What is the next step for the COI to do?
You mean in reference to that?
Yes, sir.
Well, what the COI is doing is we're not the official royal opposition. And so what we're doing, that's their job. What we are doing is organizing ourselves to take over this government. We are not expecting them to do what is right. We went out there to educate the Bahamian public about what could be done. We wanted them to see that this could be done and this is the way. And we need intelligent people in this House of Assembly who are not corrupt, who want to get this done. Clearly, Pintard doesn't want to do it, and that's why he started insulting me when I asked him these critical questions. And now he still doesn't want to do it. So what he's going to do is just do a march and make sure, and all the FMs are going to come because they're desperate right now. They feel that gave them a hit politically, and so they're gonna come out to their little protest on Wednesday, and they're gonna just ignore it after that. It's just gonna go away, and that's gonna be it. But we are organizing ourselves to take this government. We're going to release, early next year, we're going to release our plan, Vision 2030. That's going to be a spectacular affair. So I'm going into the mountains for December, and I'm coming back with the scrolls. And the Bahamian people are going to see how we're going into the promised land, how we're going into the New Bahamas, and the direction that we're going to go into the New Bahamas with. They're going to see a vision for this country that's going to blow their mind. And so moving into next year, we're not going to be dealing with the government, the opposition on their corruption, on their scandals and all this kind of stuff. When we go into the new year, it's pure vision. All right. If the Bahamian people don't know by now that the government is corrupt, now if there's anything that's serious and the media doesn't want to cover it, or they are covering it in a slanted way, we'll cover that. But now we're moving in, and when we open back up again, we're moving in to the vision for the New Bahamas that every Bahamian can be proud of, a real vision that we can believe in. All right.
Right. Thanks for accepting my call.
All right, thank you, man. All right. So again, we know that the government isn't going to do what's right. Mission was accomplished. We informed the Bahamian people. We put Spark under the FNM so that they know they need to do something. But again, what are they going to do? Good evening, you're live. Good evening, caller. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Lincoln Bear.
Yes.
Oh, how are you? Good night.
I'm awesome. How you doing?
Hello? I am good. Mr. Ben, I just want to commend you on an excellent job. We're gonna stay pass.
Thank you.
I always watch the show. I am behind the COI 1000%. But you know, it's a crying shame.
Mm-hmm.
40 years later, and history has replayed itself under the PLP party again.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy that it's hard for people to believe that Minister Monroe National Security name has been caught up, and they say that the list has more names to it. And my thing is that if you were in a park or something, your name wouldn't have been called. Am I correct?
Yeah.
People are blind to see what's going on. And, I always have been following the whistleblower, Mateo, from, people were saying he was on coke. And, some things that he made mention back when he started the live to get the public's attention. Everything is, all the pieces are coming together, and Mr. Ben, the Bahamas need a change. I'm ready to come back home to New Bahamas.
Thank you.
I can tell you that, the
Yes.
Bahamas is where I was born. My maple string is buried there, and I'm ready to come back home.
Wow.
So let's fight.
Yes.
For New Bahamas,
Yes.
to all Bahamians that are listening.
Yes, we're fighting.
Have a good night, and we, let's do this, Mr. Ben, 2026.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's go to the next line. Good evening. You're live.
Yes, I just want to say happy Sunday to you.
Same to you.
Thank you, sir. I just want to say that we, as Bahamian people, actually need to see real men and women in positions of leadership and authority in this country.
Yes.
Today and tomorrow, right? 5 years in politics is literally 1,825 days.
Yes.
For all of us, actually. So, with that said, a politician, a man in politics, a woman in politics is really just a Bahamian citizen born on Shirley Street or some other medical facility, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so their corruption that they face and deal with in their lives at any point has nothing to do with us as a majority. And yet we still suffer the consequences for these individuals, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want to say.
Wow. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Sure.
All right. And so the Free National Movement and FNM are going to join hands now to start attacking me and attacking the COI. Their story is that I'm some kind of charlatan or crook. They need to do something about that if that's the case. So that really doesn't work. We just need the Bahamas to be fixed. And if Brave Davis is such a good, godly Christian who's never done anything wrong, or Michael Pintard is such a good, godly Christian where he can be calling people names, then they need to step forward and actually fight for the people. Just give us what's ours, We don't want nothing else, Just give us what's ours. The FNM is going to come with a bunch of people. They're talking to a bunch of people right now to be candidates. The same old story. They're going to be the bridge to the future. They're going to say there's new young entrepreneurs. They say it's time for a new generation. That's what they said about Pintard when he's going against Minister. Pintard is in his 60s, by the way. Don't ever forget that. He's not like most new leaders that brought change in their 40s or so, with enough life experience, but not old to where they can be effective. Not that 60 is old, well, it's a senior citizen, but it's not someone who is old. But we need a real new generation of leaders and leaderships. We don't need people in their 60s taking us into the new Bahamas. We don't need people who grew up in the 60s and 70s and 50s leading us into the new Bahamas. You grew up in a different world. There weren't even cell phones when you were growing up. There was a different world. Y'all were growing up dealing with shillings and pounds. That's not to judge anybody, but we need a new leadership. We're going to take care of you. We're going to take your advice. You're going to be there to advise us and help us to move forward, but we need an actual young generation to take over. That's not Pintard. All right? Now, they're going to come with these people, line them up, and they're going to promise you everything in the world. We want you to know that these people aren't going to be able to do anything. They're only going to be able to do what the party tells them. That's what Brent Timonette instructs them. That's the plan of the FNM. And some people don't care. They just want to get in there. And so how politics works is they have their people they promise contracts to and expecting contracts, and their job is to recruit the rest of us. So they get benefit and we ain't get nothing but screwed with more taxes and everything else. The biggest thing I want you to realize is that if you let the PLP or FNM get in, there's going to be income tax. That's a guarantee. I guarantee you that. When I told people VAT was coming, they they would never do that. They get voted out. They don't care about being voted out because they still in power. No matter the FNM or the PLP, they are still in power. They don't care about being voted out. You have to understand that. That's their plan, to make sure no one else gets in. And so they're going to try to bring VAT. Now, they had a PLP meeting recently, and they were trying to figure out what they're going to do with me, whether it's better to leave me or whether to destroy me. And so they were coming up with all kinds of ideas. I want you to remember this, screenshot this. And they were saying, man, the only thing you could do is try to discredit him. We got to lock him up for something with fraud, man. We gotta lock him up. We got to put something on him. And then if you lock him up, you do it so he's in jail when election comes around so he can't run. We got to make sure time it right. This is a conversation they were literally having about me. And I say these stuff when it comes to so they could know, I know that I'm in their meetings. I'm listening. This terrifies them when I do this. That I can hear what you're saying. Right? And so their thing is to try to discredit me. That's not to kill me, to discredit me, because they don't want you knowing and believing in the stuff that I've said. That we can benefit from our natural resources, that we can put Bahamians first, that we can benefit from our carbon credits, that we can go solar in this country and have free electricity, that we can have proper health care in this country. They don't want you listening to me. They want to keep the treasure and everything else for themselves. And so their job is to try to discredit me, and that's their whole plan. And so now the PLP and FNM, you're going to see them come together and work together. You're going to see all the PLP trolls and the FNM trolls coming. Watch them. Watch them. And they're going to start their fight. But we built for this. The new Bahamian is built different. All right? The new Bahamian is built different. And we're not going to fall for those old tricks. And so they're going to come around with their money and crumbs and try to buy the people out. You have to talk to your family and friends, talk to your coworkers. Last week, I've never received so much calls in all my life. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I've never received so much calls. People were at work, crowds of them talking. Everyone all over the country was talking about COI. They were in groups and calling us in groups. Calling, hey, we just have a question. They just want to know about this particular thing. They want to know about the carbon credits. They ready to go COI. They just want to know if this true, if this could really happen. Can we really get a check? They were having the conversations, and that's what's good. And all over this country, people are transforming and changing. One man called me and said he was so shocked. He was watching the live with his mother and father. FNM all their life, sorry. And they said to him, no. We voting for Bain. We need change in our country. And he was so shocked because they never even had the conversation. He didn't even know they had changed because he just knew them as staunch FNM. And they'd already changed. And we're hearing this all over the country. A revolution is taking place, ladies and gentlemen. And all we ask you to do is evangelize. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. You make this happen. They can block us off the media. They can block us off the airways of their talk shows. But they can't block you from talking to your friends and families. And while people don't generally trust politicians, they trust their family. And so they're going to trust you. So you talk to your friends. Don't give up on them. Some of them, they lost with that old way. They care more about a party than they care about their country, but you have to keep talking sense into them. Gather them around on Sundays at 5 p.m. Go and sit with them and let them listen. And if there's a question, you call in and ask a question for them and let them hear the answer, or let them call in. We'll put ourselves out there for you. Now, I'm telling you, this is the last stretch of us dealing with the government and their corruption and all the stuff they're dealing with. We don't know they corrupt. We have to organize to get rid of them. And so that's what the plan is. Next year, it's pure vision. We're going to have some vision launches because we can't launch all the vision in one night, but we're going to have some vision launches as we launch our shadow ministers. Our shadow ministers are going to be presented to you when we come back next year. Because halfway through December, I'm going to take a break for the rest of the year and I'm going in the mountains. All right? Literally. When we come back, we're going to introduce you our shadow ministers, and they're going to introduce the vision of a new Bahamas to you. All right? And we're going to continue to release our candidates. We have some more candidates to be released to you. I want you to know that I'm doing this because I love this country. One man said he talked to a couple of his family members, and they said, no, man, Lincoln is a divider, man. He's a divider. He was too bold and biggity inside the house. He's a divider. You know, he's going to talk about Pintard. He's a divider. Not a divider. I'm here to speak the truth and to wake up the Bahamian people, to open up their eyes to the tricks of politicians, to their tricks. Open up your eyes to what you own. To open up your eyes to let you know that you are a great people. You are a great nation, that you are the royalty. Stop worshiping politicians. They work for you. You're paying them. You're paying their salary. And you are a great and mighty people. You are the royalty. And that's what our mission is. And that's what our mission is about. And so we did our 2 hours today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are taking back everything that they stole from us. Everything. And I want to thank all those people who call me and give me advice periodically. I want to thank all of you. A lot of elderly people and people who believe in the movement. You call and some people are like, don't talk about Pintard, man. Just leave him alone, you know. People may not like you talking with him. I have to inform the Bahamian people. Like I informed you with Brave Davis. If persons had listened, a lot of what we're going through now, we would not have gone through. So I have to ask questions. We have to ask questions of our leaders, including me. And that's why I open myself up every Sunday at 5. If there's something that you heard about, you know about, anything wrong that I did, bring it right here. But notice what they will do. They'll go and WhatsApp because they know it ain't true. So they don't want to answer for it. So they'll go on WhatsApp and just spread stuff or go on their little Facebook page and spread lies. And They wouldn't come here, and I'm making myself available every Sunday. So when you see that in WhatsApp, tell them call in on Sunday with the information. Now, if you see something coming from a paid troll and not a person who has been offended or wrong, it's not real information. Now, if a person says this happened to me, then that's a different story. You can start listening from there. But if it's a troll, let's don't waste time with that, all right? We need change. And what they do is they fight dirty, but we're going to bring that change no matter what, all right? Thick skin, get ready for them to start attacking me, Maria, and other persons to set us up in some kind of way. They're plotting. They're trying to figure out what to do right now, all right? And so the trolls are going to come out. And so we're just going to make sure that you get your cheese, all right? But ladies and gentlemen, we ain't going back. And so I'm going to share that on Facebook, and I'm going to share it on WhatsApp later tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, tell Pintard and Brent Simonet, we ain't going back there. All right? No turning back. Forward ever, backwards never. We're going to do something different. All right? All right. Cool. Someone says Pintard is not fighting for the Bahamian people. No, he's not. All right? He's fighting for himself. And you can see that. And he's really fighting for Brent Simonet and Fred Smith. And so you can listen to me or don't listen to me. But I can tell you one thing. If you put Brent Simonet and Fred Smith in there, your economy is going to be gone and your country is going to be gone because you're going to be replaced with illegals. That is the truth. But we can fight tooth and nail. There'll be a coup d'etat before we let this country be taken over by anybody who does not belong here. We're going to stand up and fight for this. We can do it the easy way or the hard way. It's simple as that. All right? But Pintard, whatever your plans are, this land is our land. All right? Get that in your head. Not Brent Simonet land and not the legal's land. This is our land. And we can fight for this. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, we will get to the promised land, and I will get there with you. All right? We will get to the promised land, and I will get there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, we ain't going back.